The question is, how does one airline compare to another on the same route? Today, I'm flying back to Copenhagen from Oslo. Last time I flew with Norwegian Airlines, this time I've chosen Scandinavian Airlines. Same route, but in a different direction. Are these two airlines completely different, or are they similar in most aspects? Does one stand out, or is the budget option the best choice? Stay tuned as we find out right now. After spending the weekend in Oslo, it was time to head back. The city was amazing, with plenty to see, and the people I met were unforgettable. Getting to the airport from the city center is incredibly convenient. Tickets cost only 10 euros for the one-way trip with flight ticket, and it takes about 25 minutes. I wish more airports were this accessible from the city center. Upon arrival at the station, you'll need to scan your valid ticket to pass through the gates. After that, take the stairs and you'll easily reach the departure hall. Since it had been raining all day, I decided to head to the airport early, about 3.5 hours in advance. Just like last time, I didn't have much with me other than a backpack, so I quickly checked the departure board and proceeded straight to security. I really like this airport for several reasons. The security is very relaxed, there's plenty of space, and you don't feel rushed like you do at most other airports I've experienced. Although Copenhagen is quite good too. Secondly, the airport itself is clearly not one of the oldest. It's very modern and open, with lots of up-to-date stores, and the duty-free area is quite refreshing. It feels different and more inviting compared to others. After forming my initial impression of this airport, I made my way to the international terminal. After the gate, there's the duty-free zone, which, as I mentioned, feel different from other airports. It seems to have two parts, and this part wasn't the better of the two. As I waited for boarding to begin, I was fortunate to have great views of the tarmac. This airport is very pleasant and aesthetically pleasing, unlike Washington Dulles Airport, for instance. For me, this helps a lot to kill the time. Finally, boarding began, and I immediately noticed that the plane wasn't going to be full. This meant that, unlike with Norwegian Airlines, I was more likely to have a lot of space on the aircraft. At this point, I was curious to see how it would be. Boarding was super quick due to the lack of passengers. And the other thing that caught my attention right away was the fact that the cabin looked cleaner, wider, more spacious, and most importantly, newer. Just as last time, I bought myself a window seat. But as you can see, I don't really need it because there are so many unfilled seats on the plane. After boarding, we waited a bit before the safety instructions, and the pilot gave us a brief message describing what the issue was. But I didn't hear it clearly. The ambient light was adjusted shortly after. Anyway, after a 20-minute delay, we departed from the gate towards the runway. Takeoff occurred, and after a short while, I finally got to see the sun again. Oslo is nice, but the weather wasn't great. Now, let's talk about the leg space and the overall seating on this aircraft. I must say, I feel like I have a bit more space than on the Boeing 737 I flew on last time. As you may recall, the seat I had last time was, well, to say the least, not good, but this seat is very nice. I don't feel uncomfortable and I can sit up easily. The only thing worth noting is the dirty seat next to me, which, by the way, isn't occupied, so there's plenty of free space to place my backpack and other belongings.
I'm in the toilet, so actually this flight is really quiet. There's not many people. I think there's like 40% full or something from the flight. The crew is really friendly and they ask me a lot if you want something. Passengers are really quiet, but the cabin is also pretty neat, like in comparison to Norwegian. So I'm actually very satisfied with the cabin, with the crew. Also, the boarding process was super quick because of the lack of people, because there wasn't a big crowd. So this is the terminal. There's a little bit of turbulence, as you can see.
After a while, the cabin crew came with drinks. I didn't take anything since I wasn't thirsty, but I think the drinks were for free except for some specific ones. If you know more about this, please let me know in the comments. It's noteworthy to say that I paid less for this flight than for my flight with Norwegian, and with them, the drinks aren't free. After 10 minutes, the crew came by to collect trash, which is fantastic because, like I said in my previous video, nothing is more annoying than being trapped with trash around you. Also, the seats are more modern. I mentioned the cabin being newer, and that's something you see looking at the seats too. For example, here I'm having USB power outlets. With Norwegian, there's nothing. And I feel like, even though it's a low-cost airline, that's the base, you know? In the flight review to Oslo, I talked about the Wi-Fi connection. It didn't work for some reason, even the paid option. And yes, Norwegian offers a free plan for Wi-Fi on all their flights. Time to check if the connection here with SAS works. Spoiler, yes it does. I try to connect and the login screen pops up immediately. I must say that it's not really user-friendly because first, you must put in your data and the number you get on your boarding card for some reason. So once I finally have it all right, I come onto the screen which shows me prices, as you can see here. I don't buy a package just because I can do plenty of other stuff on this super short flight. And speaking about a short flight, after all of this, it's already time to descend into Copenhagen. This flight has been super smooth until now, and I enjoyed this flight far more than last time with Norwegian. Although, it's pretty obvious to say that the lack of passengers has something to do with that. But other than that, of course the newer/cleaner cabin too. It's time to land, and I'm excited to go back home, but first we still must get to disembarking the plane. After a short while of taxiing towards the gate, we get to experience that. I am happy to see that they use both doors to do that. The flow of passengers out of the plane is so much better with this. Fast, I leave the plane and I'm on my way to the train station. Before I say bye to you, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any remarks, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to read them. I also would like to invite you to like this video and subscribe to see my next trips. Time for me to take the train. Have a good day. See you next time.